I will welcome everybody. Today we're just going to focus on some coaching. So I hope you're excited to talk through some questions about coaching. Drake and I are going to work together through this deck and give you just a brief of what is coaching from our perspective. What do we actually do? We're going to share some insights with you, and then there's going to be some time at the end for you guys to ask us any questions that have popped up for you. And we'll also share this deck with you guys. And again, this is recorded, so you can always go back and rewatch. So Drake, when you hit the next slide, and let's introduce ourselves. So my name is Bethany Pyles. We both work for Connected Camps, but we're a partner of NASEF. I am the coaching coordinator, and Drake is the coaching supervisor. We've both been around for about 2 years now. You can think of me as someone that oversees the program, the partnerships, the implementation of the coaching program itself. And Drake is the hiring manager. He is kind of in the trenches with the coaches and supervises them. He's more of the hands-on person interacting with coaches day to day. That's a little bit of who we are. Could you go to the next slide? So let's give you just at a glance, what does this season look like? So at a glance, this season is going to look like coaching up to 100 teams, which is great. That's what our budget provides us, which is awesome. We will coach more if we can, but we always try to coach at least 100 teams per season. This season, we're going to coach both tournament titles, which is new for us. We're going to coach Rocket League and Overwatch, both team games. And just as a preface to all of this is that coaching is free. Coaching is no cost to schools. However, all of our coaches are actually paid employees of Connected Camps. So they benefit from this. There's development in there for our coaches, but it's all free and accessible to schools. And next, let's talk about just how it works. It's really simple if you want to sign up for coaching or if you just want to get in contact with us. So your first step, if you want to coach, there's a readiness document on the NASEF website. We'll review that together in a second. But you want to review that, make sure it aligns with everything that you have at your school and with your kids. And once you've gotten past that point, you feel like you're ready, you have everything that you need, you can go and register for coaching. You can opt in during your registration process for your club or your team, whatever you're going to do on the NASEF website, it's included in that piece. The next step will be, you'll get an email from us. We all have connectedcamps.com email, so you know it's us. Our coaches will have that as well, and they will reach out to you, they'll let you know that they're assigned to your team, and they'll start working with you virtually to figure out a schedule. If you don't hear from somebody immediately, you're likely on our waiting list, which will also keep updating you guys weekly via emails to let you know what's going on, where you are on the waiting list, things like that. But again, we have a cap at 100. We just don't have the capacity to coach every single team, although we do try. So if you are put on a waiting list, it doesn't mean that you aren't guaranteed to coach, but you might get one a little bit later or within a few weeks of the tournament. Okay, so let's look at these readiness requirements. They're actually not that robust. They're actually quite simple. The first one is time commitment. So you do need to have some time committed to having coaching sessions. We have a minimum requirement of once a week for an hour. So if you can meet for 60 minutes, just once a week with our coach, you can have one. If you'd like to meet more, we encourage more. The more, the better. 90 minutes a session is usually a great place to start. And if you can meet 2 to 3 times a week, we'll meet you there as well. But we'll meet you where you're at as long as you can meet the minimum time. Stable internet is a piece of this, so we can't help you with your internet issues. We're not your IT guys. So you will need to update your internet, make sure you have your game updated as well with patches. Make sure everything is set in place before your coach gets there. Your coach has a limited amount of time, so they want to be able to focus on the kids and the coaching. So anything that you can do to prepare beforehand is going to help. This includes any kind of peripherals that you might need for the game. So headsets, controllers, PCs for every student, all of that good stuff. And it also includes access to Zoom, which would be easy. But this also is Discord included too. So Discord is going to be helpful for you guys to stay in touch with any tournament announcements. Again, your coach is limited to maybe what they know and what's going on around them. They are focused on coaching. So you want to stay kind of in the bubble of everything that's going on in the tournament. So access to the Discord for announcements is going to be key. And then we do require that you guys have a general manager there. So if you have more than one general manager, it only has to be one of them. You can go back and forth, but it doesn't have to be an adult. We want them present during every coaching session as a witness. Cool. And here's just a little bit about our coaching model. So most people have some type of perception of what a coach is based on traditional sports and sometimes esports as well. But this is how we do it. This is what our coaches are trained to do and what our perspective is for coaching. So essentially it's interest driven. We want to be led by students. We want to know what students want to do. We want to know if they want to be casual or competitive. We set our expectations with them. We don't assume anything about a team until we get to meet them, and then we go from there. But essentially we want it to be student focused. We want to know what they want to learn, what drives them. And then near peer mentorship is key for us. We're hiring people that are college age students. These people are going to create really deep relationships with students based on their interests, based on their college expertise. Sometimes they know things about scholarships in esports world that sometimes we don't always know as older folks. But the near peer mentorship piece is really key for us. We only hire folks that are around the ages of 19 to 25 for that reason. And then we also integrate social emotional learning and well-being. So our coaches aren't necessarily going to get your kids to be a pro player. And that's not really our goal. Our goal is actually social emotional outcomes, which are really key and really important for us. We try to develop them through the game. And so we're using things like communication, teamwork, work ethic, all sorts of things built into drills and activities that we end up doing. And this feeds into wellness as well. So we're talking mental wellness and physical wellness, stretches, breathing exercises, visualization before a match. Things like this is what our coaches are going to be able to prepare with your students. So this does come from research. We do have a research team that works with us, that we do an annual recap of every season that we do. And some awesome things that we've learned is that coaches do have a great impact, especially these near peer mentors, on decision-making, self-management, social awareness for kids, and relationship skills. So we are trying to map this and see what outcomes students are having and update and develop new programs that fit these things that kids are trying to build skills in. Okay, and so just at a glance, I won't read these all to you guys, but these are our values. These are really what we're talking about. We're talking about social emotional, we're talking about well-being. These are the things that we found that coaching could really impact. Of course, coaching will impact more. Students will get better at the game, of course. They'll know mechanics, they'll probably learn some cool pathways and careers, but they're also gonna be able to practice lots of things like decision-making, problem solving, interpersonal things like communication. How do I communicate with my peers? How do I communicate with a GM? How do I communicate with my coach? It's all different. But essentially it's under the bucket of social emotional learning. Adaptability is very important in game and out of game. And so we try to hone in on this. So you might be asking, so who are these coaches? Who are these people working with my students? These are some real pictures of our students at a live event that we had. Unfortunately, we probably won't have a live event for a while, but we do have some awesome coaches that got to meet their players in person, but generally they're going to be virtual. They come from all over the US. Their age is about 18 to 25. They're coming from all sorts of different areas of study. We don't hone in on any specific STEM related thing. We try to look for people that are passionate and already have experience working with youth. And we also don't rank check folks. We don't talk about rank too much in coaching. It's not something that we hone in on. We're more interested in, can they give us some awesome outcomes of social emotional learning? Do they have experience already working with youth? They are also background checked. They are Safe Sport trained as well. This is a website that we use to do all sorts of topics from online bullying to mandated reporting that they're trained in. They also have an additional 3 weeks of training and preparation with Drake and I and our coaching staff. We also have someone that consults with us on mental health and well-being that's part of that training. But they go through about 3 weeks there with us before they're ever meeting their students. And then afterwards, after they're already meeting their students and working with you guys, they actually have weekly development meetings with us as well. So we meet every Friday together. We go over different themes for the week. We talk about the challenges, glows and grows of the week, and make sure that they ongoingly have some professional development as coaches as well. And again, they are employees of Connected Camps, not NASEF, but we are a partner of NASEF. Great, I'm gonna hand it off to Drake. He's gonna talk to you a little bit more about working with your coach.
Yeah, awesome. So thanks, Bethany, for all of that background. So yeah, I just wanted to mention some things about, working with your coach as a GM. What is it actually like to interface with these people and to, make sure that things run smoothly? So one of the first things to think about is what your coach's schedule is like. So coaches work with around 2 to 4 teams per season for 20 hours a week. They're oftentimes like in college or they have some other obligations also to attend to. So the other schools that they're working with might be competing for the same time slots as you, after school hours, stuff like that. So being consistent with your schedule and clear and making things early and being a bit flexible is like super important. Trying to meet the same time every week, make sure that the kids are there and everything is super, super good for our coaches. Make sure that everything, just runs smoothly. As far as their training and strengths go, coaches to coach or as you get coaches, like they're going to have different ranks, they're going to have different styles, they're going to have different approaches to the game, strategies, levels of game knowledge, and strengths. They're going to be familiar with what those are, and every coach is not going to look the same, and every team is not going to look the same. So, having conversations with them early on, trying to set expectations together about how they can benefit their team the most. They'll be able to kind of fill you in on what their process is going to be like and how maybe you can slot into that and how they can slot into that. So you guys can have a mutual conversation about expectations for the team. What do you want the kids to get out of this season? How are we going to get there? Those are all conversations that are two-way that you can have with your coaches before the season gets started or as the season continues. And finally, just, make sure that you can keep as robust of a communication with your coaches as you can. Be on the lookout for questions they have. They might be, having struggles or whatever, or need help scheduling, things like that. So be on the lookout for questions. And if you're able to, if you possibly have the time, try to check in with them from time to time. Discuss the team with them. Ask them how things are going. They're really going to appreciate the interest that you have in their team, how you can help. And if you know anything too about maybe you assembled the roster before you got assigned to coach. Maybe you ran tryouts. Let them know about how those went, what your roster's like, what the personalities are like, how they might work well together. And if you have any students that need extra things, extra needs, or have certain personalities, let your coach know, and they can support those kids more efficiently if they know up front. So next thing I want to talk about is team charter. So this is one of my favorite things about the coaching program. This is a keystone of our coaching program. All the coaches are required to do it at the beginning of the season. And as far as like a single day goes, as a coach, is probably one of the most important days of the season when you build your team charter. So the team charter is a document that includes all members of the team and sets the expectations for team conduct for the rest of the season. Through it, coaches can help players set individual goals and create a team vision. And so this is a really important document. Like I said earlier, it's completed early on. So this might be in your first week of meeting with your coach, right after tryouts and stuff like that. So it's a living document. It can be updated as the season progresses. It's not static. You can always go back and change it and adapt it to whatever the team needs. The roster might change, the goals might change. You can always go back in it and look. And one of the nice things that the team charter does is you can refer back to it as a GM or as a coach to promote positive behavior, reconnect with what it is that you wanted to accomplish this season, and reduce conflict if necessary. You can use it as a conflict resolution tool. So one of the most common practices for making a team charter is something called a full value contract. And this is where players and coaches alike are seen as equal members, as well as GMs, if GMs also participate in it. And so the coach asks players to express what the expectations for one another are first. They'll ask the players to kind of describe what it means to be a good teammate and what they're expecting from their team players. Then the players are asked about what they expect from the coach. So the coach will ask them, how they can be the most benefit to them. And then finally, the coach can explain his expectations to his players. That might look like stuff like be on time, be respectful, have fun, communicate, all that sort of thing. So it's a very flexible document. It really meets the students where they are and allows them to kind of feel some ownership of the team. It allows them to have some responsibility in making the team charter, and it also increases their level of accountability to the team charter because it's something that they helped make and contribute to and agreed to. So it's really, really important. One of the other parts of the team charter that's super nice is kind of allowing the coach to set roles for players. So leadership roles, maybe the coach wants a player or two to be shot callers for their team. So in-game leaders. Maybe you can assign a team captain through this, somebody who can take care of like some logistical stuff and, have some responsibility in making sure that kids can make it to practice, or finding substitutes, or finding scrims, stuff like that. Kids love the responsibility. And so the team charter is a place where you work with your coach to assign certain students to certain roles of leadership in the team. And next up, I also wanted to hit on tryouts a little bit. So you might run tryouts with your own team if you're trying to coach your team, or before you meet your coach, you might have to run tryouts. And otherwise, it's also just nice to see how our coaches kind of go about tryouts. And so one of the easy things to start off with is making sure that all your students have a headset, and ensuring that the environment that they're playing in is as quiet as possible. So if you're playing at the school in the computer lab, then having headsets is really, really important. If students are sharing mics, or if the room is too loud, it might be hard for a coach who's calling in virtually to hear them and to make informed decisions about the team and the individual players. So it's kind of important to make sure the logistics are proper. But beyond that, tryouts aren't just about finding the highest ranked players. Many GMs from the past might tell you about how that can go wrong. Sometimes everybody's not a team player, and so it's really important to get kids that can work well together. They're going to be working together for a whole season, if not a whole year. And so making sure that they can kind of synergize together, vibe together, is super important. What I would look out for, what your coaches would look out for, and what I would suggest you to look out for is, players who are in good, have a good energy, have positive vibes, who are good sports. When they win, they're humble and they're graceful in losing as well. People who are encouraging their other players when things are tough, when the game is going south, just trying to uplift the team and being good kind of compasses for morale on the team. Those students are going to be some of your best assets. If you can get them on the team, that's really great. Even if their rank isn't super high, they're probably going to put a lot of effort in, and they can always learn more about the game, and that's what the coach is for. So without the ability to mesh, few teams will make it very far. And the other thing is, I would kind of say to look out for players who are super passionate and excited about things. The players who are most passionate and eager, they might not already have the highest rank, but they're going to be among your most responsible players. They're going to make it to the practices on time. They're going to rally the kids to play. They're really going to stick to it. They're really going to try hard, and their energy is going to be infectious. So they can add a lot of value to your team, and they can be really good leaders and facilitators on your team. So that's a bit about tryouts. And then finally, just wanted to explain a bit about like session structure. So a coaching session looks like a lot more than just logging in, playing the game, and logging off. We want this to kind of be a seamless experience. So coaches are encouraged to run certain warm-up activities and drills with their students just before going straight into the action. This can range between playing fun game modes within the game to maybe practicing your aim, using little tools like that, to breathing exercises and hand stretches and mood checks to get the kids kind of mentally prepared for the rest of the practice that they're going to take part in. So coaches might run group discussions. They might check in with the overall mood of the team before starting the session. There's all these things that coaches can do to warm up, and also to cool down the team once the practice is kind of over, to kind of stop and reflect. And so we really like to bookend the practices as much as we can. And so, coaches will also have a lesson plan for students. They might have in mind a certain topic to go over that day, a certain concept, or to discuss strategy. And coaches are encouraged not to spend too much time shuffling through PowerPoints or anything like that. It's always meant to be engaging and get the kids involved. And another part of the normal practice session, what that looks like is scrims or drills. So scrims are just games that the kids are playing against other schools, other teams, and that's going to make up a lot of the practices. Getting the kids just playing in the game. And then something that will follow after that is called a VOD review, so a video on demand review. It's just basically going over game footage. That's another big piece that coaches will often engage their students in. And that's a good opportunity for coaches to kind of get students' voices heard, allow students to kind of self-reflect. This is where those critical thinking skills are built. This is where the self-reflection comes in. So students are kind of asked to evaluate their own gameplay, think about how things could have gone differently, what kind of mistakes they've made, what kind of highlights were made as well. So running a VOD review, going over game footage with your team is a very normal part of a practice and super, super important for that skill development. So, and like I said about warm-ups, cooldowns are very similar. They might be more reflective or discussion-based in nature to kind of just end the day on a reflective note, and instead of just logging off and evaporating, because kids like that. So just to wrap things up a bit, we have some coaching tools that we recommend. So I already mentioned the team charter. Might also be useful to have a coaching binder. Your coach will probably have one, but if you're trying to coach your own team, then it could be useful for you to have one, something that you can organize like on a Google Sheet, Google Drive. This could have roster information, what kind of roles your students are playing, what kind of champions they play, strategies, team compositions. This can be coach facing and student facing as well. So kind of compiling some resources for your team in a centralized place is a good idea. And as far as some like third party tools, so Miro is a little website that you can use to kind of storyboard, and you can draw stuff and you can type things as a team together, and so you just have a blank canvas to do cool activities. Epic Pen allows you to draw on your screen, so it's super useful for VOD reviews. You can take a look at the rest of these. I think Mind Games GG and Headspace are really cool tools for like emotional management. You know, competition could be high stress, so mindgames.gg is like a weeks-long course that's actually made by an esports psychologist, and focuses a lot about like breathing exercises and mindfulness. Headspace is very similar. It's just an app on your phone. It doesn't have a particular like sports psychology focus, but it's kind of something that you can do more on your own time. You can just do a Headspace activity for like 5 minutes, and it's an app that you can download on your phone. And then the shout out to NASEF Scrim Finder. So if you want to connect your team with other teams who are in the tournament, to scrim against them, to find teams of similar rank to you who play at the same time, you can go through NASEF's website. We've made a tool called the Scrim Finder. You can just put your information in and look for other schools who you're compatible with and just schedule games to play. So those are some coaching tools we'd recommend. You'll have the links to all of these in the slideshow once we finish up. But yeah, those are all my slides. So Bethany, did you have anything else you wanted to mention before we close things out?
No, but if you have any questions, Drake and I are always available. We have our emails linked here. You're free to use those. And you can also ask us questions via the NASEF website as well. There's a coaching category there that you can click on. That's it.
Talk about that coaching video link you've got there at the bottom of the screen.
Yep, there also is a coaching video here. If you want to actually see some of our coaches and hear some voices too of kids interacting with coaches, this is a great video that our coaches made themselves, and it's on YouTube, on the NASEF YouTube, but we'll link it here as well so you guys can check it out and get a feel for who these coaches really are.
Good, and with that, I invite anybody on the call. I see Sean and Wendy, but anybody else that's here, go ahead, open your mics, ask questions. This is an opportunity for you to really get those coaching questions answered. What would happen during competitions? What's it all like, etc.
Well, actually, so this is all really good information. I am going to ask my general manager to watch this video when you post it on the website. He is at work right now, so he couldn't make it. I'm at work too, but this is my job, so
It's a good job.
his work is on Saturdays with us. But just one thought is, I have college students that help us with our club, and they're not coaches, and I think the coaches, if I understand correctly, are young adults who have competed in esports. Is that correct? I mean, they have some experience in competitions, right?
Likely, but not always. And I mean, right now the esports scene is tough to always be in tournaments, especially at the college age. Some people have not had that opportunity. So this may be their first real tournament, but they all have experience working with youth in some way, virtually especially. But yeah, tournaments is not a requirement for us.
Well, I'm wondering if there's a way also for our college students to receive some training, either from your coaches or to go through some aspect of your program, maybe not the full program if that's not possible, but you know, we have a small group of about 5 or 6 who are really enthusiastic, who show up every Saturday for our virtual club. And I think they would really benefit from something like that. But also, you know, would love to sign up. Right now we're still in that beginning stages. We have probably about 10 club members, but they're not signed up with NASEF yet. You know, so we're just kind of working on getting that going, as well as applying to be an affiliate for the state.
Louisiana.
Yeah, for Louisiana, yes. And we're, it's raining here a little bit, as you might expect, but anyway, so yeah, I think this is really great information, and we'll look forward to, you know, getting connected with you all somehow.
Good.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say too, if you'd like some tips and tricks, Drake and I are always available to help out. I think we'd be open to working with you guys as much as possible. But I will say we do offer a couple coaching academies throughout the year on various topics. And we try to include all of these pieces about the social emotional pieces, the well-being pieces in our coaching, how we coach, but also just some basic, how would you coach Rocket League specifically, maybe League of Legends, Overwatch related. And those are open to GMs in general, but they're also just open to like NASEF members. So I would look out for those. We do those live, and then we also record those. And then also we are working on a self-paced course. So that's in the works. It should be live soon, hopefully in the fall, but we've been working on this for about a year with some third-party consultants that are essentially, we're going to make a course for anybody that wants to become a coach based on our model. What does it look like? And you can run through it with any amount of people. You can do it with a group, and we'll have some live support attached to that as well. So that is coming. But in the meantime, you can use Drake and I as a resource too.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. Anybody else have any other questions?
Sean?
I have just a simple question about what can I do to facilitate my principal from getting his form filled out? He still hasn't been able to open it.
Me. I can help him with that. So yeah, let me figure out about that. Sean, if you just send me email with his or her name or address, we'll get the right people in the back end to get in touch with him or her and get that all straightened out.
Okay, and where do I find the email?
kbrown@OCDE, Orange County Department of Ed.us.
Okay, so
OCDE.us.
Okay, got it.
Perfect. That was easy. Great, everyone. If there are no further questions about this extremely interesting and beneficial topic, then I'm going to give you a couple of minutes back in your day. Thanks very much for attending this. Again, this will be posted shortly on the NASEF website for review, infinitus, whatever you need to see. We look forward to you attending another one in our near future. Of course, you can always check the NASEF events calendar on our website. Just click on events. Calendar opens up. You can click on anything of interest and schedule. It says tickets because we think we're rock stars. There are no price for those tickets, but please come and join us at a future event. Thanks very much for joining, everybody. Have a great day.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
everybody.